This is Arundel, this is the Panasonic S9, and this is Jakub attempting to sword fight me. Painful to watch. For now, let's take a look at the S9's headline specs. Inside this frankly tiny little camera, we have a 24.2 megapixel full frame sensor. It can shoot up to like 6K open gate recording, but it's been slightly controversial because even though it is feature packed, I'm going to tell you about some of my favorite features in this video, there are some major things missing too. Recently, Jakub and I went on a best friends day out to Loxwood Joust. Because we can't relax and we are obsessed with cameras, knowing this review was coming up, we bought some S9s along to have a play and just get a feel for them. And unfortunately, we loved it so much, and I have become slightly obsessed with medieval stuff, that I'm going to theme this review as medievally as possible. Whom doth peasant. So inside the S9 we have a 24.2 megapixel full frame sensor. It's the same one that we see in the S5 II, and the image quality is genuinely really lovely. I've really enjoyed the colours I'm getting out of this. It seems to do pretty well in low light situations. High contrast like this doesn't seem to be too much of an issue. I'm able to bring quite a lot back in the edit. But I do feel sometimes like the design is almost working against you. Like it's hard to get the best that this S9 can offer. I think the really obvious time for that is with the autofocus, because of not having a viewfinder, sometimes it can be just difficult to stay really on top of that and be really accurate. But one port that this does have is a little tiny micro HDMI over here. So I can actually show you exactly how that autofocus is performing. So we're in continuous high, we've got human tracking on. I'm using the 70-200 LUMIX S Pro lens, so this lens should work perfectly with this camera. We're going to see how it does. Now, little side note, I have noticed today that when the Atomos is attached, everything seems to be a little bit slower, a little bit laggy, so you'll be able to see when the square comes up just how quick that is, but we might see a little bit more lag in the pictures than we normally do. I think it's something to do with this Atomos being connected. Let's see how it does. We'll give it a test and make Jakub run around like a crazy person. Okay, and when you're ready, go for it. I'm going to try taking the Atomos off, and just so you can fully get your run in today, make you do this one more time with no Atomos connected.
It's such a shame I don't have my phone on me, so
you're getting all the steps. Okay, let's see how we do just with no Atomos. I mean, already that feels better. I don't know why that's causing any lag. We do this on every test. It was definitely like looking less laggy, like looking at it on the screen, but maybe it's not making really a difference to the pictures. The only time it seems to really lose him is when he comes in close, drops down, and then comes back up. It seems to take a couple of frames to get back to it. But apart from that, oh, cute little couple having a walk. That's cute. Apart from that, seems to do pretty well, honestly. Should we just do 3 more? Worth a try. If you like to use something like film simulations with your images when you're shooting in camera, maybe you want like a bit of a retro or vintage vibe, maybe something a little bit film-like, then on the back of the S9 there is this LUT button. It's dedicated. You click that, and within that you can select lots of different LUTs. Now, if you ever shoot video, you'll be used to this. It's called a lookup table, and you can go through and set things like Vlog, etc. to change your color profiles. With the S9, you have so much more control over this. They have an app called the LUMIX Lab app, and within that, you're able to download loads of different custom LUTs and then put them onto the camera so that you can shoot with them live and see exactly what they're doing, which I think sometimes, especially if it's a day like this where it's a bit cloudy or overcast, it can give you a little bit of inspiration. Now, the great thing about this is that you have total control, and there's even a way, if you shoot with lots of Lightroom presets, There's even a way to get those onto this camera too. Now, I was using it for photos, but as I said, mostly used for video. That's how you'll have probably heard of it before. So that's how Jakub's been using them with the S9.
I think the real-time LUT feature on the LUMIX S9 could be very useful if you need to quickly post a video on social media. There is even the MP4 Lite format dedicated to exactly such a scenario. It has a fixed resolution and frame rate, and it's meant to do just that, be quickly transferred to your phone and posted as soon as possible. But the S9 is well featured not only for content creation on the go, as it has all the serious video formats from its bigger brothers as well. 6K open gate up to 30p, 4K 60p, Full HD 120p and everything in between to really suit your needs. It also comes with Vlog, 10-bit 422 codecs, dual bass ISO and anamorphic support, so can be turned into a powerful filmmaking machine if needed.
The design of this camera, I think, is the controversial bit for me, because there are some really positive things. I think there are some really negative things too. Positive things, this is really small and lightweight for full frame. It's 486 grams body only with the battery in. And if you pair that up with something like the 18-40 lens, then that is a really nice little companion for this. It was absolutely lovely to walk around with, although this lens's aperture is way too slow for my liking. That is a plus side. Nice, small, lightweight, full frame camera. Fantastic image quality. We have this screen. You have an articulating screen. So if you do want to film yourself, not with the 70-200 on, obviously, it's available to you. It does look quite cool, right? It looks nice, especially if you've got one of the smaller lenses on. Maybe you've picked yourself up something like this Sigma, like little 17mm f4. This is a metal body. It feels nice, looks nice. Put that on the front of it. You can pick from all the different colors. I've got the green one here, which I quite liked. And you get a little splash of color on the back here, which again, not really to my liking, but it's whatever. It's not, in my opinion, the thing a camera is for, but it helps if it's a pretty looking camera. However, I think there are some things that make this camera slightly challenging to use at times. So, main thing for me is the lack of viewfinder. The image quality is lovely, everything like that, but on a day like this, the bright sunlight all the time, high contrast, it was the same actually when Jakub and I were having a play with these at Lockswood Joust. It's really hard to shoot without a viewfinder, it just is, there's no getting around it. Yes, you can get nice shots, of course you can using a screen, but it is just a little bit more difficult. It's harder to be accurate. I find it harder, especially if I'm using a bigger lens on the front, to just constantly be out like this. It's just a little bit less stable. Earlier I was trying to track some dogs, and instead of being able to just, you know, focus and really track what I was doing, it was very much like, oh God, okay, they're over here now, you know, that bothers me a little bit. We've also got a cold shoe on top. I'm glad they put something here and wasn't like, oh, for design, we've made it flat top. Thank goodness they didn't do that. So you can put a little like Rode Wireless Go on here or something, and you do have a mic port just to the side here. So you can run a little mic in there, which is really nice. So if you are looking to film, that's something that's really good. However, there's no headphone port. And at the moment, as far as I know, the USB-C slot, which you can use for power delivery and like transfer of images, you can't use that to plug headphones into. So you know, often you can get like adapters for either normal kind of aux headphones, or you can just get USB-C headphones now. Apparently that they don't work. I haven't tested that, but apparently that's not a thing with this camera, which I find slightly frustrating. We do have a micro HDMI port in here. That's really useful for us because we do AF tests to show you. So I like that. I don't think that's particularly usable. I think for the style of camera they've gone for here, where they've put in a flippy screen, not a flip out and shoot down with it street everyday carry style screen. It's very much like we're aiming this to a video creator style screen. I think possibly that would have been more useful as a headphone jack. The button layout is fine. So we've got a dial here and we have the dial around the D-pad on the back. We don't have a dial here. I do prefer having the 3 so that I can have ISO down here and then, you know, shutter speed and aperture up here. But it's not that big a problem, I don't think. I think you get used to that pretty quickly. Record button is in a good place, and I like that the dial is very gnarled. I don't know, someone commented on one of my videos recently and told me off for using one of those, but I can't remember which way around it was. So you don't mix up the shutter button and the record button, which is really nice. Some cameras you do. The LUT button I think is actually quite a good addition. I've quite enjoyed shooting with the LUTs for photo on here, but yeah, all in all, it sort of fights itself, this camera. Like, it's so good. The image quality is so lovely. It's got so much built in, and then you try and access it or try and like shoot with it, and there are just certain things that make it slightly slower or a bit more annoying. So yeah, I'm on the fence. I'm really enjoying using it, and I think I'm really liking the images I'm getting, you know, based on looking at the screen, because I can't check them in a viewfinder. But yeah, we'll see. When I get these into edit, I'll be very interested to see what I managed to get, or if I was like, just missed focus on that one and couldn't tell. I forgot to mention, the grip on this, it's basically non-existent. We have a little thumb grip here, but there isn't anything at the front, and that's fine when you've got the little 18-40 on, or that 26mm f8 pancake, if you want to use that for some reason. But when you have something like this, which is only a 70-200 f4, it's not 2.8, right? Even then, there's just not enough here. So I think if it was me, I'd probably be looking like at a third-party grip. Maybe like the small rig is quite nice, I've seen. So little grip on here that you can just put into the tripod thread at the bottom, and it just sits on the camera. I think I'd probably personalize it in that way, just to make it feel a little bit more secure in the hands. I sometimes think controversy around cameras is caused by the marketing of the manufacturer. So being like, hey, this is for this group of people, and then it doesn't quite deliver on that or something. And I think that's where this sits. It's really good, the images are lovely, the video is lovely, but it doesn't have the viewfinder. It would be perfect as an everyday carry because it's small and lovely and looks okay, but it doesn't have the little flippy out this way screen. But in terms of what it can output, it's really nice, especially if whenever you get this, make sure it's got the latest firmware, because the original firmware missed out on quite a bit that the newer firmware has. Things like the framing lines, you get updated video features, lots of different things. I won't bother reading the list out, but it is definitely worth doing. But yeah, I think there's certain things that maybe certain groups of people might just find a little frustrating. I'm definitely one of those people, but I can't knock the output from this. And in terms of enjoying using it, I really have. Like, the LUT button, I didn't think I would care about at all. And I was just saying to Jakub off camera actually that it reminded me of the GFX 100 RF. It has a ratio dial, so you can change the ratio of your images, which I have never ever done or cared about because I shoot and edit in RAW. But I did it and I used it a lot because it was right there and it gave me inspiration. And that's kind of what I like about this LUT button. If I owned this, I probably wouldn't just use straight JPEGs out of camera. That's not the type of shooter I am, but I would definitely use it for inspiration. I found today earlier when it was really grey and a bit rubbish, being able to cycle through those LUTs and just get a bit of inspo from it. Like, that was actually really nice. But the viewfinder is a sticking point for me personally. For some of you out there, it won't matter. You won't care about that. So I'd be interested to know your thoughts on this camera. Are you the type of person who's thinking, no, actually I want something like the S5 II? Or are you looking at this being like, I don't know what everyone's worried about, this with the 18-40 would actually be the perfect camera for me? Love to know your thoughts. Make sure you put them in the comments. If you've got any questions as well, we'll do our best to answer them. But for now, thank you for watching, and I hope you join us again soon for the next video from MPB.